Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. The name of my channel is Room for Rewinds, and you know who I am. I am Pause to Play. And today we'll be doing an ending explained on the movie You Are Not Alone. No, you won't be alone. Sorry. And I kind of like this movie. I think it's more of a drama more than a horror. And I never wanted to do like movies that had movies that were in other languages because I hate reading subs because of my eyesight. But I really enjoyed this one. It was totally worth it. And you know what, without wasting any time, let's get right into it. The movie is set in the 19th century in a small village in Macedonia. We can see kids there, they're playing, they're having fun. Just kids being kids generally. So as they are having fun, they play hide and seek, and some of them they go hide in a woman's house and she chases them away. But when she gets back in the house, she can see that the wolf eater is there, and she says, "Children are a burden," which she replies, "No, silly, I don't want children, I want blood." And then she promises, "I will give you many, many, just not this one." And then she bargains again and says, "I will give her to you when she's 16." And then she puts her mark, but the witch also puts a mark on the child, stabbing her in the mouth, destroying her voice. She hides the child in some caves, and we can see here that the child is all grown, but she's lonely, wondering about the sky, the moon, just general questions that a child can have. In the cave, she sees a bird, and it's like a crow, I guess. And the crow looks suspicious, but the mother knows it's the wolf eater, and she's come back for her. And then she chases it away and disappears, and we can hear sounds and struggling. She emerges and says, "Come, let's go." And they go to the house, and she drinks goat's blood. And after drinking goat's blood, she puts a mark on her and spits on it and puts it to fire, and the wound just disappears. And she explains to her that they need to now go. She drops some human organs on the floor on the way there, and then she turns into, yep, I think we know who this one is. Yep, wolf eater. But the child doesn't know this. And they had a disagreement while they were on the way, and after that she deserts her and says, "You don't know anything." And then she stuffs some organs into a hole in her chest and turns into a dog and goes away. And while she's left alone, she just wonders about a lot of things. And mind you, let me add that when they were together, she was mean to her and she didn't want her to play. She only wanted to just drink blood. And in a barn, she hears a child and attends to it. But the mother, when he walks in, she's very, frightened, startled, and they fight. And she able to kill her, and then opens a hole in her chest, and she stuffs her organs inside, and she turns into this woman. And then the mother-in-law takes her in, and she's worried about her, and then she starts living life as this woman, and they just accept her. But then people around ask her why she hasn't got a voice, and then the mother replies that she's been beaten so many times, that's why her voice is gone. But she describes that being a woman is, it's nice, and when you're in the presence of men you don't need to say anything, but when you're in the presence of women all you do is talk. And she just explains generally how women are towards each other and how women should be around men, and around men is very restricting. And yeah, after that, she settles in very nicely, and the family's just with her. And the wolf eater appears and says, "Do you think you're the first one to do this? It doesn't surprise me that you choose a prison. They're gonna see who you are and they're gonna tear you to pieces." And she watches on. She doesn't listen, and as she is experiencing a very disturbing intercourse with the men there, she kills him because she wasn't very comfortable. And then she has to run off, and she turns herself into a dog. I don't know why. Anybody know how I can turn into a snake? And she watches over some boys taking a bath, and she just kept wondering about them and how people are. And one of the boys actually follow her into the woods, and he tries to have sex with her, but then she actually kills him, and then turns herself into him and stumbles into town. And now she is experiencing, life as a man, and she just explains that this world is burning, it is wrenching and biting, and it is a hard thing. And she has the freedom of, being a man, being able to go and do whatever and being superior, but it's the hard work, you know and he says the sun, I'm clothed in the sun all the time. So here she's just experiencing being a man and the hardships of being a man. So yeah, and she's cold because there's a girl that actually fell, and she just weeps, and then she sees the dead girl and turns herself into the girl, and she joins the family of the girl, and she lives in this world of being a child. And she says, I didn't know it could be like this, because the experience was actually wonderful. There was no downside to being a child, actually. And as they are sitting on the fire, they tell the story of the old maid Maria, and she was a maid who didn't have a husband and wanted a husband, and she met a wolf eater at the time and asked her for a husband. But the wolf eater didn't respond, only scratched her in the chest and left. Yeah. So some men came looking for a bride, and she agreed, but it wasn't what she expected. She was expected to marry a sick man and actually have sexual intercourse with him. Thus, it made her sick. And then after, being really sick and almost dying, she eats the blood, thinking it's gonna heal her, but then the village, they actually burn her, which then makes her immortal, since you have to put the wound to fire. And she is happy. She is getting married on the other side, and she has grown into this woman, marrying this really, really good guy. But the wolf eater returns and tells her that she's gonna find out who you are and throw you into the flame himself. Yeah, mind your own business. And then she kills the husband, and the family blame her, and she gives birth, and she can't sleep, and she's protecting her child. But then again, the wolf eater is always around, just lurking and watching her every move, and makes her way into the child's room and actually slits the child's throat with her claw. And then what actually drives her is just jealousy. And what Navina does is that she scratches her own child and puts the wound to the flames, and we can see the child regaining consciousness, and she's alive. And then she weeps. How could you do it? How was it so simple for you? And she refers to her living a normal life after getting the mark of a witch and actually being a witch. Now, the only thing that we have to concentrate here is that the actual theme of the movie is gender fluidity. And we can see that she's experienced both being a woman and being a man. And, through the child of an eyes, actually, because she's never been outside in the world. So I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed how she thinks, and I really enjoyed, the underlying theme. But, some people might feel differently, but I also think that this movie actually explores sexuality. And yeah, I just really feel like that's the focal point of the movie, just being a man and like being a woman, and the struggles that we both go, the struggles that you go through as a man and as a woman. And after she has saved her child, she then turns to the, old Maria, and rips her, like, turns her insides out and actually kills her, Like, she did her a favor. I mean, girl, you got no dreams, no goals, going around butt naked, drinking blood for centuries. Come on, man, rest now. It's okay. So yes, that was the ending explained of You Won't Be Alone. I really think as she chose to be a little girl and grow into that little girl, I really think that it is sexuality. I mean, she's experienced both, being a man and sexually being a woman, but she chose to be a woman. Like, that was her decision. And the other thing is that she got to experience her childhood. She got to experience the childhood that she never had, because she was in that cave for so long. And that's the one thing that was taken from her childhood. And as for the wolf eater, I would say that the other thing that actually bothered her is that she couldn't do what she did. She couldn't do, she couldn't get a family and do all the things that she could do, like even bear a child. And the jealousy in her actually mounted to the actions that she took, like killing her husband and trying to kill her child. And yeah, it's just really sad. And she just lacked empathy because of the life that she lived, and she couldn't understand how she could achieve that, how she could be a witch and be accepted by a man and like live happily and after. And it bothered her. That's why she kept stalking her, watching her, putting these doubts in her head. But she just kept going on. And I love this movie. You know what, this movie was a masterpiece, and out of 10 I'll definitely give it a 10. I recommend you to watch it. Even with this ending explained, you can watch it again and again. And there's some things that I know that I missed. But yeah, you know what, I'm paused to play. This is Room for Rewind. Like, share and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video.